I'm going to introduce the new theta-client and do a build with React Native. Theta-client is a library. It can work with different types of languages. This demonstration is with React Native. The library communicates with the RICOH Theta camera. In this case, it's RICOH Theta X. And the interface, in this case, is React Native, is showing the images, live preview, post view, and list files. This tutorial will cover both the preparation of the theta-client library for use, as well as the preparation of the React Native demo that comes with the code. First, locate the theta-client GitHub repository. In the subfolder React Native, I'm going to use the README as the documentation that I'll follow along with. The instructions indicate to first build the Theta client, then to export the environmental variable for the location of Theta client, and then to prepare a React Native wrapper. cd into the directory where you clone down the GitHub repository. There's a small error in the documentation. It says to use .gradle, and that is a directory. So I'm going to use .gradle w and run the script here. So just added a w onto the end of that documentation. Publish to Maven local. Let's give it a shot. The build completed without any problems. So it says build successful. And then I'm going to use present working directory, or PWD, to identify where the Theta client full path is. I'm going to export the Theta client environmental variable with the value, so equal sign, the value of where the Theta client root project is. I'm going to paste it in, Command C, Command V. I'm going to verify that the environmental variable has been set properly by using echo and $, the name of the variable, and it looks like it has been set properly. In the React Native folder off of the root directory, run the make package shell script. Change directories into the demos subfolder off of the root directory, and change directory into the demo-react-native folder. The directions on the README says to do a yarn install. I'm using a system that doesn't have yarn installed, so I will now install yarn. I'm using npm to install yarn on my system. I do have Node installed. If you don't have Node installed, you'll need to install Node. So sudo npm install -g for global yarn. And now my yarn version is at 1.22. Going back into the demo React Native subdirectory, I can now run yarn install and we're good to go. Using a separate console, start the yarn development server. So then go back to a different console and run yarn run Android, and the build succeeded. For the iOS build, I actually went into the iOS folder and I ran pod install. After I ran pod install, I then ran yarn run iOS. After connecting the ThetaX to my MacBook, I was able to run the basic functionality test on the iOS mobile app. The preview works great, the post view is in equirectangular, and list files works. I ran the basic functionality test again. The preview works, live preview, there's no problems with it. The frame rate is smooth on the live preview, it is an equirectangular. There's no stuttering, there's no flickering. It looks fantastic with the ThetaX. take picture works, and the post view is in equirectangular mode. So it'll draw it down with a get, HTTP get, and when you look at the list view, it's in equirectangular as well too, but there are React or JavaScript viewers to view it in 360. You'd have to implement it yourself. So I went back to Android after I connected the ThetaX to the MacBook and on the emulator. I was able to run it. The commands do work fine. Live preview does start, although the viewer was having some problems in my initial test. So if you get it to work, just let me know. So on the take photo here, on this test, it may work in general. For me, I'm getting this flickering here in my test. So once I take the picture, this is not the live preview, this is the post view. It does show the image, so it does pull it down. It is taking the image and you can view it. It's just that the live preview in my initial test does have some flickering, so we'll have to take a look at that in the future. We have an active developer community at community.theta360.guide. We'll see you there.